what the hell is this bright future, dude? You sound like a cult or like the preschool down my street. Okay, let me explain. Damn, I need caffeine, bro. I need caffeine. So I was just drinking coffee. But this bright future, what is this, Anuj? So this is basically, for those of you that don't know, it's the title of Logic's memoir. Who is Logic? He's a rapper, famous author. He wrote Supermarket, for those of you that know. But yeah, platinum award winning artist Logic wrote a memoir, and it's called This Bright Future. And honestly, it's one of the first times I haven't seen I've seen a rapper. I'd say I've seen other musicians write memoirs. It's not like an old thing, but this is one of the first times I've ever seen a rapper write a book. And I respect the fuck out of it, because hip hop is normally known as this place where it's like, oh, it's all about the rap. It's all about the rhymes. We're from the streets, all of these things, right? And that's all we say. But Logic wrote a book, and Logic has always, the thing I've always admired about Logic is that he's someone who isn't afraid. He's never afraid to try something new. He's got all these creative interests, right? Whether that be with screenwriting or books or video content. And he's never been afraid to like show that off. I mean, he had a YouTube channel for a while when he was a working rapper. Like, he used to do YouTube videos with his ex-wife and all of these things. And it ended up working out. Like, he just tries new stuff. And I consider Logic to be more of a creative than he is a rapper, in my opinion, because he tries so many new things, and I respect that. And for those of you that don't know, I mean, reading this book, like, Logic means so much to me personally. He was one of the first rappers I ever got into, first person that made me like fall in love with rap. I just loved how creative he was and how he was so different from like the rest of the industry, right? When you think of rap, you think of like gangster rap, like rapping about money, drugs, girls, all of these things, the hood. But like Logic was like one of those guys who was like, I'm going to take my creative influences and insert it into my album. And he made things like The Incredible True Story, which was like the story out of his mind. And he made music that went along with it. And that's why I just like him so much, is he brought two things together that no one thought could go together, right? Like sci-fi and hip hop. And he just did such a good job of it. And I got into that. I bought into that message, and just also his whole thing with like peace, love, positivity. Like, I'm all about those vibes. So it was very, very cool. And so as one of his big fans, this book was a fantastic read. And I knew I kind of crapped on him with Vaccine and all that, and that, you know, his mid album that he released recently. But I have high expectations every time it's Logic, because, you know, I've seen this man reach the pinnacle. He does such good things. But anyway, he's not afraid. He's never afraid. That's the thing about Logic. He's never going to be afraid of he's never going to shy away from doing something that he doesn't want to, like that he wants to do. And reading this book was cool to get an insight into his life and the different things that he's been through. It felt like he was telling me stories, and we were sitting down and having a conversation, which was cool. And by the way, this man has had a rough life. Jeez, I was looking through, like, it's some parts of this book are hard to read because it's like a human being really went through this. Like, that's awful. But that's also me talking from like suburbs, like grew up with middle-class parents. Yeah. But also like as one of his fans, like, it was super interesting to get that insight. But as a pure book, I don't know what happened. Hold on. I thought something happened with my computer. But also, like, as I was saying, like, as one of his fans, it's definitely interesting to get that insight for sure. But as a pure book, like, is this the best novel I've ever read? No, right? But I like it because it's super approachable. It's very digestible. It's very approachable, very conversational. But overall, I think there's going to be a lot of people that like read this book and are like, yo, what did I just read? This is like so mid. It's not very good. And I just tell them, like, bro, this is a good book. You just have to like trust the structure in a lot of ways and just be like, you know, continue reading and continue reading. It's not a traditional memoir in any sense of the word. It's very raw. It feels like he's, you know, like I said, he feels like he's having a conversation with you. But I like that. I like those types of books. And so that's why I think I gravitate to this book so much. And I just finished, I'm not done reading it. I'm like almost done. I'm like 50 pages left. So I haven't finished it. I haven't gotten to the end, but I've read most of it, and it's very solid. I forgot to say that at the beginning, which is weird. I don't know why. But what I'm learning from this book, from what I've read so far, is, and just in general, to be a creative in any industry, I'm trying to tell you guys some of the lessons I've learned. You got to work your ass off. and you got to want it more than anybody else. That's the key, right? If you want the privileges of being self-employed and making your own money and making a good amount of money off yourself, you have to work harder than everybody else. And I already knew that, I think I have a good work ethic. I think I'm working on being a better hard worker in that sense. But oh yeah, if you want the privileges of being self-employed, you got to work harder than everybody who's got a 9 to 5 job, 50 times as hard. And what I'm also learning though is you have to pivot. And I think this is key. I think pivoting is super important because you have to be able to learn that, okay, this particular aspect of things isn't working out. So let me focus hard on this and keep pivoting and keep seeing what works. And whatever like catches fire is where you got to like foster your home. And that's what I'm learning. It's like you got to short-term sacrifice for the long-term goals. I'm good with that. And that's something I'm slowly trying to adopt, I guess. And also, I've learned that, like this book, basic life lesson. I have so much to be thankful for in life. I have a great support system around me. I have a really good family. I have great friends. I have everything around me that I could ask for. And I've been safe my entire life. I don't have to worry that my family is going to go behind my back and try to kill me, which in this book has been the case. Because without that support system, without that solid foundation, like what the hell is this all for? Who is this for? Like, let's be honest. And I've been stuck recently, like in a bind with like balancing relationships and family and like doing stuff with like friends and stuff. We're back from spring break and doing stuff with family and all of these things. But also like really trying to spend time, really work hard, really hit the books hard, making this shit happen with this podcast. And so I'm trying to like get it. I'm trying to get that balance. And it's difficult to like take advice from people who haven't made it creatively, quote unquote, like, have reached success, have reached levels of self-employment that they can, go unemployed or don't have to have a job and also do this career. Like there's not very many people in my life that have that. I don't think there's anybody in my life that's just like, I'm a creative who has self-made it. I'm self-made creator, right? And so I think I have to really learn on the fly and sort of see the examples that people are putting out there. And so this book is definitely an example of that. And I love how Logic is just continuing to be creative, doing all these amazing things like he always has. From indie albums to Supermarket to Under Pressure, just different shit. And he always tries new stuff to the Incredible True Story. And he's showing people and creatives that they don't have to be defined by one field, right? Logic is not just a rapper. He's an author. He's a speaker. He's a YouTuber. He does all of these different things. And it should be you should be defined by all the projects you're doing. And I think that's just really cool. And I think Childish Gambino is also the same way. He's done a lot of these, he's a creative more than he is just one rapper. So creatives should, honestly, my advice is just, like, not my advice. I don't know why you should take, but I guess like my suggestion after reading this book and also just like looking into it more is like, if you're creative, like just do every creative idea that comes to you because you never know what it's going to lead to is like my thing is like, because I shouldn't be giving this advice because I haven't done shit. But I guess that's what I'm noticing is like, why don't we just try new shit and see what sticks? I don't know. But yeah, that's what I learned from Logic's book. And listen, we got 2 news stories to cover before we finish the show. But yeah, Logic's book, man, available everywhere. It's called This Bright Future, memoir by Bobby Hall. I recommend it. If you're his fan, and you like his music, 100% go read this book. If you're not really his fan, I would still recommend it. I would just say, like, be patient. It's definitely one that takes a little bit of time, but I think, like, if you ever, like, you will get into it. You just have to give it its time and understand sort of the structure and the narrative behind the book before you really get into it.